Wonderful. Welcome back to this conversation, Jackie. So, welcome everybody to this conversation that Jackie and I are sharing with you all. We did a part one of this back in June this year, 2024, and we're back here now, early December the same year, so 6 months later, because I thought it'd be really helpful for us to do this part two conversation and let people hear a kind of longer term journey after your Mace Energy Method Foundation sessions, Jackie. So thank you so much, first of all, for that original conversation, because I've heard lots of people telling me it was so helpful for them to hear your experience, has inspired some other people to go for their foundation sessions. So really, really appreciate you for that. And really big thank you for being back with us today to share more about what's happened since then. So let's start, Jackie. First of all, just tell me, how long was it after you'd had your foundation sessions when we had that first conversation? What kind of gap of time was that? Like, how soon after those foundation sessions was that part one conversation?
Um, well, yeah, it must have been about was it about six months?
So it's 6 months now, yeah, between our
Um,
last conversation and now. But I'm wondering how long it was when I feel like it was quite soon after your sessions when we did that.
yeah, there was a bit of a gap
Mm.
but then yeah, you kind of came back and then yeah, I'd say maybe I don't know, maybe time just flies. I think maybe a month, maybe month.
Yeah.
uh, I don't know, about around
Mm.
that time.
Quite a short, yeah, relatively short after
Yeah,
your.
it wasn't long, but yeah, as I say, time flies and it's just this year's gone so quick.
Yeah, yeah, hasn't it? So amazing, thank you. So remind us, what did you first go to Mace for? What was the problem that you really wanted solving?
Um, I think I'd gotten so far along my exploration journey, and with sort of working with yourself, with other coaches and mentors, and there was just something that I just couldn't get to. I couldn't see, that felt so kind of sticky, frozen, sort of almost like that. I just could not get to that felt like I needed to pull the plug, the plug on it
Mm.
completely.
Mm.
Um,
But were you seeing that manifest in your life? Were you seeing things like in normal life that were like indicators of that still being there? Or is it just that you could really just feel something in yourself?
yeah, I think both actually. I think there was yeah, a lot of contraction and a lot of resistance to stuff that I can maybe previously hadn't been quite aware of, that was sort of a bit more in my face. And yet there was still, I don't know, there was still as if well, I'm kind of seeing this. I understand, where my experience is coming from, and I understand it, but what am I, why is this not dissolving? Why is it not going away? And I think that was, hearing your experience with Mace, and it just felt so, oh yeah, this sounds like maybe this could shift
Mm.
shift the shit.
Yeah, 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 because it does absolutely resonate with my experience. And I can't remember if I said this in our part one conversation. Perhaps I should have listened back first. But oh, even if I did, we can even not hear things, can't we? So I just want to really highlight how you and I have both gone on that journey of kind of delayering and delayering, like
Mm.
excavating, excavating, lightening and lightening and lightening until we were kind of left with that sort of visibility in a way of, oh, well, there's something here that's like so stuck that I can't get at it any other way.
Mm.
But I want to really highlight with Mace how you don't have to do that excavation
Mm.
process.
Mm.
If you haven't, or even if you've just done some of it, it doesn't matter. Mace is
Mm.
getting to that stuff at the bottom that we ended up like going, oh, there's something here I can't get at. But even if the very first thing you do is go to Mace, it gets to that thing that you feel like you can't get at. So yeah, just wanted to kind
Yeah, which is amazing. And it's almost like, I think we had a conversation the other week. I'm kind of, okay, so it couldn't have happened any other way.
of,
This journey is as it is. But yeah, I mean, gosh, can you imagine?
if this had been the first thing,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So Jackie, if you step back then and think about the whole of this last 6 months, I know what you're just saying about, oh my goodness, time flies, but if you were to step back and consider like your broad experience from June now to December, what would be your like overarching, this is how it's been?
Hmm. I think that it has sort of talking about sort of this sort of this creation. I think it has there's been this sort of almost like I want to say it was quite really like it's led me to sinkholes that I could never see at all before. And it has allowed me to go into them with a with courage, with not because there has been something that has been discreated that has allowed me to see it clearly
Mm,
now, rather than the unconscious sort of, just taking me away to keep me safe. Um, and that I think has been huge because there's been so many big sort of or sort of isolated sort of incidents of big so what I was saying is these sinkholes have took me in and really sort of oh gosh, I haven't seen, but there's been so much capacity to deal with that. It's yeah, and I think that has been huge in it, yeah, in this falling away of all the stuff, the grabby stuff that wanted to either push it away or make a meal of it or whatever. It's yeah,
yeah, amazing. So it sounds like real, yeah, as you said, real courage.
yeah,
And what I hear in that as well is real honesty. It's
yeah,
like no avoiding, no distracting,
yeah,
no habits, no old habits to take you away from it. Like actually see it, be with it, experience it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And can you
definitely.
give us like a vivid example of that, of how that shows up in your life? Like, is there a particular feeling you've been avoiding or a particular type of experience you've been avoiding?
Yeah, I think it's maybe my my voice or my my expressing my true self without this sort of fawniness or trying
Mm.
to sort of you know make people feel, oh gosh, it's okay, and obviously just to kind of make people like me. uh
Yeah.
we say if I'm working with patients and they really kind of need to, or it helps if they kind of understand and take ownership of their own health. And sometimes patients don't, they some don't like to be kind of told or instructed or advised how to sort of you know brush their teeth. After sort of 70 years, they get a bit, oh, I've been
Mm.
brushing my teeth or something. And I think the ownership, yeah, of voice and the way, the attention and the intention of being able to deliver, and knowing that there's nothing on it, there's nothing hanging on me. It is just clear and clean, and I think that has yeah, that's been huge.
That's massive, isn't it? Yeah, massive. So I'm hearing like a real falling away of people pleasing, like you said, that fawning. And I really resonate with all of this as well. It's shifted in my experience too. So I guess it's really landing for me that
Mm,
yeah, not altering yourself in order to please somebody else. Like being true to you, responsible for you, knowing that they're responsible for them.
yeah,
And that is a massive thing that comes out of Mace that I'm seeing again and again and again with people. There's
yeah,
such a consistent theme of I need to be like this in order to keep them happy. Of course, because as little kids, that's what we did to avoid some horrible experiences, even if that was just being shouted at, which was a very normal experience as little kids. And then if we've never cleaned that up, then yeah, that's still running the show, isn't it? That upset from it being a child is still running the show in that behavior. So it's amazing that that's something that's shifted for you. Yeah, huge, huge.
it is dishonest, it is, and it doesn't, and I
Mm.
think when you're having a conversation, it doesn't feel right, it feels yucky, and but the feeling is ignored for so well for so long, or it's not even it's just not even available to be seen because, the mind will just, no, nothing to be seen here.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Don't go there. Don't go there. Yeah, you don't want that experience. Absolutely. Incredible. And so have you seen in the 6 months, have there been any more problems that have come up for you? Have you had things that have come up where you've gone, ooh, I don't like that. I actually want to do something about that as well. So you've had a big load of stuff handled in that foundation session process, but have there been other bits along the way?
Yeah, I'd say it was kind of the same. The source was the same, but
Mm,
it was just kind of a different flavor of that, and it yeah, it was just able, I think, it enabled me to shine a spotlight deeper onto that sort of thing that had been so parked or not even seen. And then I don't know, it was just almost like so naturally these things would come forward. I was like, oh God, yeah, that was, that's all part of it.
mm,
And and yeah, and then it's almost like just that little thing that felt so huge, almost like it popped, I could almost feel it just popping away, even not even in a May session, it was just that,
mm,
yeah, it
mm,
maybe in that set it wasn't quite, but then it made sense and it disappeared.
mm. Cool. So let me just test that with what I think I'm hearing from you there then. So you know how earlier we were saying, I've seen this thing so many times, that idea of I am, seeing it with awareness, I'm being present to it, and yet it's not going. What I'm hearing and what you're saying is like now that almost like the root had been pulled out from under it, yes, little blips. I've got an image like almost like little bubbles from a pond. Like there's still some little bubbles coming to the surface from that root being pulled out. But now that the root's been pulled out, you're able to actually be present and aware with it, and hence it just goes poof. So because there's no attachment, there's no entanglement, there's nothing holding it in, and hence you've had that natural experience of, oh, that's nothing to do with me. That's not the real me. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very accurate because yeah, it's just felt that there's no need to the need that yeah, there is no need to even kind of just even investigate it a bit further. It's just almost like if there was, it would be just a clean, oh, that's really interesting because I'm so fascinated and interested in where behavior and it's almost like guided me to what, oh, that's really interesting rather than a fear of looking looking at it.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, beautiful. Is all these great words coming through, which are such signs of who we really are. The courage that you talked about earlier, this curiosity, this
yeah,
lightness that I can absolutely feel in you completely. So amazing. And so then, have there been any things that you have taken to a mace session? So if there's been these things that have naturally just evaporated, has there been anything where you've then gone to an actual subsequent mace session and handled some more things?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, sort of lots of things again around the sort of flavor that have maybe that has come forward and sort of tapped and sort of these sort of like you say the bubbles that come up and it's just and because they've been seen so clearly, it's so specific. Oh, it's X or and taking it almost like you talk about your post-it notes. Take the post-it note, put it there, and it's discreated. Just I've ripped it up, put it in the bin at the end of the session, and yeah, it's almost like done, dealt with, gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, go into a change room, change clothes. Yeah, I'll buy this or and just go.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So things have come up that you've felt a bit more like they haven't just gone pop. And
Mm.
that's gone on your list of like, right, this is for my next session, this is for my next session. And then yeah, so what have those next sessions been like for you?
Um, yeah, they've been sort of it's so quick, and sometimes I mean, talking to other people, it may how things haven't maybe been seen. I see things so clearly as you kind of obviously talk us through and it's very quick, slick and gone. There's nothing that I need to well, I don't know. It's almost like the mind doesn't need to spin it and ask, questions, and almost like there's been a, I'd say it's trust, really, trust in you, but trust in myself as well, that that this is such a sleek, swift process. It can't, you can trust that this is gone. It's
Mm, yeah,
it,
yeah.
it's hard to kind of explain, but yeah, and it's just so vivid, um the things that sort of, the images that come up, and it's just amazing how they just gone.
Mm, yeah, yeah. And so we've had quite, probably not, I was going to say quite a few, but we've probably only had about two or three 15-minute sessions, haven't we, since you'd had your foundation sessions.
Yeah, and I
And
think
yeah.
people have come in a, and I know you've said to me, oh, you look, you got this sort of heaviness, a little bit of heaviness about you, and then at the end you're like, well, you look really
Yeah,
easy.
you're back to, and you look like that this morning. You've got your beautiful, bright, shining, colourful face there, which, yeah, is always a beautiful indicator of, and I see it with people in the, especially in foundation sessions, but also sometimes in the subsequent ones, where people go from looking so grey and lifeless and tired, old sometimes as well, even if they're not particularly old people. And then
Yeah,
by the end, this shining beacon of incredibleness. It's such a transformation.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I love that. And again, you've used a word there that's a reflection of who we really are, which is trust. So, funnily enough, just this morning, I've posted in the community saying about doubt being one of the not real self things
mm,
I see from most people
mm,
most of the time. We've just lived with all this doubt and uncertainty and assumed that's just how it is, and
mm,
assumed that we just have to question everything and we just have to assume that, oh, well, it's not going to work for me, or that's not going to happen for me, and it's not going to be that good for me, maybe for somebody else, but and there's so much of that around.
mm,
And therefore it comes into the session where there's that sense of, oh, is that it? Has it really worked? Has it definitely gone? Whereas where I'm hearing from you there is that because so much has been cleaned out, there's more of that trust. And with more of that trust, there's more of that quick discreation and it's gone. And there's a knowing that it's gone because you've seen it, you've felt it, so that it all builds and builds and builds. So it becomes
yeah,
even more impactful, really. Yeah.
yeah. That makes I'm glad you said that about trust, because yeah, that is almost like it has been so profound, and I think trust has been so jangling and so well, this whole, yeah, sort of idea of the separate self has been so sort of, well, it can't be, it's not trustworthy, it's not, because there's been nothing to, well, you can't, because outside is untrustworthy, everything, and now it's almost like that feeling of just that has always been there, that, yeah, that true self, that true, there's, it can't be nothing to trust, if you will. There's no, yeah, it's just, it's
Mm.
very, yeah, unusual, the feeling of just being, just nothing on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that truth, the truth that trust is a given. Like
Yeah.
once we stop not trusting, it's like, oh yeah, trust is just is.
Mm,
Honesty just is. Integrity just is.
mm,
Courage just is. It's like
mm.
none of these things that we have to find or grow or develop. It's
Yeah, it's like hope maybe as well. That hope thing. It's like, well, where does that come from?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, amazing. Oh, incredible, Jackie. So is there anything else that you think is valuable to share, either just something
Mm.
you'd like to share personally or anything that you particularly think would be valuable for anyone to hear?
Um, just again, how incredible this, there's so many, I mean, there's so many tools and modalities and stuff out there, but seems so kind of just so simple, so easy. And yeah, it's really accessible. It's not, it doesn't have to be long. When, I mean, yeah, you obviously, you can come back to the subsequent sessions, and I think they have been really helpful to me after that sort of initial, because I mean, even though I was very I knew sort of, I knew in my kind of, in my being that this was something pretty, pretty huge. But there was still that little bit of like the mistrust in, oh, well, I don't know, but then I think, having, and I don't know, I mean, obviously, my sort of relationship I have with you, I mean, I think helps as well, because obviously my first May session wasn't with you.
Mm.
And yeah, it was completely different because yeah, I think I have a very lovely connection with you. So yeah, the subsequent ones obviously felt different. They were much sort of quicker, just moving through, and I kind of almost understood the process having had those. I just, anybody that is just, yeah, just feeling like they're really just, they've got stuff going on that they're just churning over and just can't seem to, or been seeking for so long just to try and sort of feel better or happier, or oh my goodness, just come along and get it sorted.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't second that more if I tried. Yeah, 100% agree. Oh, incredible. Thank you so much, Jackie. Really, really appreciate you sharing all of this with us. And I hope everybody watching has enjoyed hearing your part two. So let's see what happens next in your life and where, yeah, where this continued expression of the real you takes you.
Mhm.
Amazing. Thank you,
Thank
Jackie.
thank you.
Thank you. Take care.